Edgar Allan Poe is known as a master of the macabre. His works reflect his life, tragic and bizarre. Born in 1809, Poe was orphaned at age 2. He was pseudo-adopted by the Allan family a few years later and spent his childhood with them in England. They moved to Richmond, Virginia when Poe was 12 years old. Though raised among aristocrats, Poe knew that he was a charity case and didn't really belong. Poe was extremely intelligent, but he decided to quit the University of Virginia and join the army. He published his first book of poems while at West Point and was kicked out of the school when he decided he'd rather be a poet than a soldier. A writer, magazine editor, and harsh literary critic, Poe spent the rest of his life bouncing back and forth in New England. He wrote many poems and short stories. In fact, he is often cited as the inventor of the short story as a literary genre and as a precursor to science fiction. Poe had a hard life. Almost every woman he loved, including his mother, stepmother, and wife, died from tuberculosis. He suffered from a severe case of alcoholism and severe depression. In 1849, he was found drunk and beaten nearly senseless on the streets of Baltimore, and he never recovered to tell what happened. Poe's most famous poem is entitled The Raven. As Poe explains in his essay, The Philosophy of Composition, The Raven was written as a mathematical exercise. The goal of the poem was to create an emotional effect, melancholy, which brings about beauty. The refrain, nevermore, is, according to Poe, the most melancholy word. Poe chose the raven as the perfect animal to repeat this phrase, and a house in the middle of a dark, stormy night is the perfect setting. The plot centers around the death of a beautiful woman and a man who tortures himself into the realization that he will never get her back.
And the raven, ever flitting, still is sitting on the pallid bust of Pallas just above my chamber door, and his eyes have all the seeming of a demon's that is dreaming, and the lamplight o'er him streaming throws his shadow on the floor, and my soul from out that shadow that lies floating on the floor shall be lifted nevermore.
The Telltale Heart is one of Poe's most well-known short stories. This story is a first-person confessional narrative in which the narrator is obsessed with the creepy eye of an old man. He's also obsessed with proving his sanity, which actually proves his insanity. Every night, our narrator creeps up to the old man's door, pokes his head in the room, and shines a light sliver onto the man's eye. Eventually, our narrator commits murder and hides the body in pieces in the wall. Creepy, typical Poe. When the policemen come to investigate, the narrator hears the heart of the old man still beating and confesses everything. His guilt is too much to bear. These and hundreds of other poems and stories have kept Poe's memory alive and creeped readers out to this day.